So yesterday, my family and I went out for a nice dinner and a trip to the movies. This is something we rarely do, since we live moderately far apart and we all work our own jobs. Our party included my dad, my mom, my sister, and me. Everything was pretty chill and we were enjoying ourselves. The food was nice and the movie kind of funny. Nobody was expecting what awaited us just moments later. When the movie ended, we started walking out of our row towards the exit. This cinema is rather small, so there was only one door. When I looked back up to see where the rest of my family was, I saw that my mother was arguing with a couple. The man was a balding middle-aged snob with thick glasses and an oily face. The woman was dressed in a black dress, golden necklace, and had a fake blonde Karen haircut. Both had this unbearable upper-classy, "I'm better than you" feel oozing out of them. It was pretty clear that they didn't want to get up to let my mother pass through. Now, you see, my mother has a medical problem with her knee. She wanted to pass the row in this specific direction, so that she doesn't have to huddle through the whole length of the row to get out. She tried to explain this to the woman Karen, but Karen just made fun of her, taunting her with, "Oh, just climb over me then, and no, I can't let you pass. I want to see the credits." I saw how, after a while of arguing, Karen put her feet demonstratively on top of the seat in front of her to block my mother's way. My mom was all worked up, crying, and passed me by the exit, taking the long way. Don't take disrespect lightly, and I knew that if I didn't act, this scene would follow me for some weeks. I remembered that I have my water bottle with me, filled to the brim, so I took it out, walked back to where the couple was still sitting, and gave Karen and her boyfriend a refreshing shower directly onto their bellies and laps. They clearly saw me coming and looked at me all smug and victorious until the water hit them. Karen and her boyfriend looked shocked and had this "how could you" face on. Her boyfriend, who also yelled at my mom previously, confronted me with a quiet and shaky "Why would you do that? You can't do that." Because apparently, Karen and her boyfriend never learned that their actions have consequences. As I turned to leave, I saw Karen going full rage mode. She was climbing over her boyfriend and the seats to get to me. Her partner yelled something like, "Karen, please leave it as is, don't do it." Just as I went through the exit, I realized that she made her way right behind me. I turned and she was standing there with raised fists, like 2 steps apart from me. I looked at her and asked, "Oh, so you want to fight?" And Karen, glaring with the rage of 1,000 sexually frustrated middle-aged women, sputtered, "Yeah, let's fight. I am a 23-year-old guy, fairly muscular and big into fighting sports. I've been training both Wing Chun and Muay Thai for quite a while now, since it's fun and adds to my overall fitness." Don't worry, I didn't obliterate Karen. I also didn't really attack her. I just assumed my fighting stance pick, took a step forward, and asked her again if she wants to fight. Karen was still there, in all her freshly soaked glory, seething with rage. Now, at this point, I kind of wished she would try to hit me, so I could bring her down in an elegant, self-defense kind of way. But she just stared at me, so I threw a half-fast warning shot kinda center kick in her direction, not hitting her, but to establish distance. Next thing I know is that Karen ran back into the cinema and my sister and my mother were getting in my way to end the situation. Karen was hiding behind some people in the cinema. I shouted something like, "Where are you going, Karen? I thought you wanted to fight." Her balding middle-aged boyfriend walked to the exit, saw me, and went wide-eyed again, completely overwhelmed with this situation. We then turned and left. A very kind woman reassured us that Karen acted weird and uncontrolled. She speculated that Karen was on coke or something. Well, after all, we got a good story out of our family night, and all Karen and her seemingly enslaved boyfriend got was wet clothes and dirty looks. A fair deal. Dr. Karen harassed my mother. I threw water at her to retaliate, so she tried to beat me up. If this doesn't belong here, please tell me where I should put this. Thank you. I used to work night shift with my sibling at a travel plaza. For those who don't know, a travel plaza is a rest stop on the throughway. Ours had a Burger King. They was open 24/7. At 2 a.m. we switch over to breakfast. This guy comes up and asks if we are still serving dinner. I say yes, but only until 2 a.m. He leaves to use the bathroom. It was 1:59. He was very upset when I told him we are now serving breakfast. It was 2:10. Kept asking for a Whopper, a Bacon King, then an Impossible Whopper. He walked away and I assumed that was it. Our back door was always kept shut at night because we did have homeless that would try and sneak in to steal stuff. The guy went into a blocked-off section of the plaza that got shut down because of COVID, went through a kitchen, past the stockroom, and out the back door. My sibling and I heard the door but saw nothing, so we brushed it off and thought the door was still shut. It wasn't until I heard the door a second time and caught this dude sneaking back inside. I very stupidly chased him through the kitchen and out the front door before calling the gas station next door and informing them of what happened. The guy who was working that night is a very good friend of ours and came over to make sure we were both all right. I gave him the man's description and it turned out he went next door, found out they had no hot food and came back over. He could have just walked to the front of the building, so I don't know why he thought sneaking in through the back door was a smart idea. So I feel like I should preface this by saying this happened in Germany and all participants are German. Just because complaining about something this stupid is extremely German law. I'd know, I'm German and I'm taking time out of my day to post this petty little story. So in German long-distance trains we have designated quiet zone wagons where you're not supposed to talk on your phone or do any other loud stuff. Of course, this leaves open the definition of what loud means to you. To a woman sitting next to me, loud apparently means me writing an email on my laptop. The most hilarious thing is that I didn't even notice it at first. I was on a business trip and wanted to get some work done. I was hyperfocusing, typing away. I was vaguely aware that someone was talking next to me, but I didn't really notice what about until I heard the words, "I shouldn't have to put up with this." Now, of course, my drama sensors were tingling. I love drama, and I love listening to people passive-aggressively complain about me. Boy, was I in for a treat. Apparently, this woman had been complaining to her husband for a while about how she specifically booked tickets in the quiet zone and how some people had the audacity to not respect that. The husband seemed pretty disinterested, but she kept on talking, probably thinking I would react to her passive-aggressiveness and stop typing, which made the fact that I had been accidentally ignoring her in the beginning even funnier. I decided to see how far this would escalate. My goal was to provoke her to actually address me directly, so I put in my earbuds and put on quiet music. And then, I started typing like my life depended on my word count. Before, when I was genuinely writing an email, I would write a few words then stop to think about what's next. Now, I was word vomiting. Like in those typing games where you write nonsense sentences and the goal is to do it as quickly as possible. I was Victor Hugo, and this email was my Les Mis. I could still hear her over the music, and she said, "I'm gonna say something, I should say something, right?" to hubby like 5 times until she finally tapped me on the shoulder. Go time! I take off my earbud. Yes, hi, we're in a quiet zone. You should stop typing. I don't believe it's illegal to type on my laptop here. The rules are only about talking, music, and such. This is a quiet zone. You should be quiet. Plenty of people use their laptop in the quiet zone. I've done it before, and I bet you've gotten plenty of complaints. No, you have the honor of being the first. Really proud of this one. I'm not usually witty on short notice. And I put my earbud back in and ignore her. She kept complaining to her husband, who still seemed pretty chill and disinterested, while I returned to my future 1,000-page novel. Eventually, she left the wagon, saying she would get personnel to come and kick me out or make me stop typing. My source of entertainment temporarily gone, I returned to my actual work. I think the husband and their kid who was sitting opposite me noticed I had been fucking with them, but whatevs. The kid kept glaring at me, and later I noticed that he had thrown some gum under my feet, probably hoping I'd step into it. I didn't though. After about 10 minutes, the woman came back. I still had my earbuds in, but judging by her look and by the lack of personnel in tow, her lengthy expedition had failed spectacularly. I, on the other hand, was pretty happy with my day overall at that point. The cherry on top was that when we were getting ready to leave at the same stop, I was taking my backpack off the top shelf and a sandwich fell out and bonked the kid on his head. It was not on purpose, I swear. I even apologized to him.